Vatruviyascha Kripasindu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nice to be with you all again. Do we have the verse there, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, just a minute. Let me share.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, The Process of Creation, Chapter 4, text number 16. I can't see. There we are. This is a little difficult. Vichakshana yacharano prasadanat Sangam Vyudasyo Vyayatonta Atmanaha Vidantihi Brahma-gatim gata klamas Tasmai Subhadra Shravase Namo Namaha. I'll do the translation. Or do we do the word for word as well? I can't remember from this format. We'll do the translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances again and again unto the all-auspicious Lord Śrī Krishna. The highly intellectual, simply by surrendering unto his lotus feet, are relieved of all attachments to present and future existences, and without difficulty progress toward spiritual existence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Śrī Krishna has repeatedly instructed Arjuna, or for that matter everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. For that matter, everyone concerned with becoming his unalloyed devotee. In that sense, we understand that Krishna is instructing us through his instruction to Arjuna. When we take up Bhagavad-gītā, we're not taking up a mundane book. Or even with a mundane book, we have a sense that we're connected to the author. But with this book, Bhagavad-gītā, we are directly connected with Krishna through his instruction to Arjuna. It's a good idea to take it that way. When you want to develop your relationship with Bhagavad-gītā, understand it's a personal relationship with Krishna. In the last phase of his instruction in the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 18, verses 64 to 66, he instructed most confidentially as follows. Savaguya tamam bhuya shrinu me paramam vachaha ishtosi me dridam iti tato vakshyami te hitam manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamivaishyazi satyam te pratijane priyosi me savadaman parichaja mamikam sharanam vraja aham tvam savapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Quote, my dear Arjuna, you are very dear to me, and therefore only for your good I will disclose the most secret part of my instructions. It is simply this: become a pure devotee of mine and give yourself unto me only, and I promise you full spiritual existence, by which you may gain the eternal right of transcendental loving service unto me. Just give up all other ways of religiosity and exclusively surrender unto me, and believe that I will protect you from your sinful acts, and I shall deliver you. Do not worry anymore." Unquote. Persons who are intelligent take serious notice of this last instruction of the Lord. Knowledge of the self is the first step of self-realization, which is called confidential knowledge, and a further step in God realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. And a further step is God realization, which is called more confidential knowledge. The culmination of the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā is God realization. And one who attains this stage of God realization, he naturally, voluntarily becomes a devotee of the Lord to render him loving transcendental service. This devotional service to the Lord is always based on love of God and is distinct from the nature of routine service as prescribed in Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Dhyana Yoga. In the Bhagavad-gītā, there are different instructions for such men of different categories, and there are various descriptions for Varnashram Dharma, Sannyas Dharma, Yati Dharma, the renounced order of life, controlling the senses, meditation, perfection of mystic powers, and so forth. But one who fully surrenders unto the Lord to render service unto him out of spontaneous love for him factually assimilates the essence of all knowledge described in the Vedas. One who adopts this method very skillfully attains perfection of life at once. And this perfection of human life is called Brahma-gati, or the progressive march in spiritual existence. As enunciated by Śrīla Gosvāmī, on the basis of Vedic assurances, Brahma-gati means to attain a spiritual form as good as that of the Lord. And in that form, the liberated living being eternally lives on one of the spiritual planets situated in the spiritual sky. Attainment of this perfection of life is easily available to a pure devotee of the Lord without his undergoing any difficult method of perfection. Such a devotional life is full of kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam, and so on, as mentioned in the previous verse. One must therefore adopt this simple way of devotional life in order to attain the highest perfection available in any category of the human form of life in any part of the world. When Lord Brahma met with Lord Krishna as a playful child at Vrindavan, he offered his prayer in which he said, "Shreya Shrutim Bhaktim Udashyate Vibho Klishyanti Ye Kevala Bodhalabhyate Tesham Ashau Kleshala Eva Shishyate Nanyadyata Stula Tusha Vagatinam." Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, Verse 4. Bhakti Yoga is the highest quality of perfection to be achieved by the intelligent person in lieu of performing a large quantity of spiritual activities. The example cited here is very appropriate. A handful of real paddy is more valuable than heaps of paddy skins without any substance within. Similarly, one should not be attracted by the jugglery of Karma-kāṇḍa or Jñāna-kāṇḍa, or even the gymnastic performances of yoga, but should skillfully take to the simple performances of kirtanam, smaranam, and so forth, under the bona fide spiritual master, and without any difficulty attain the highest perfection. Umaginati mirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savarutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Brishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindho Vacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is a very profound purport. In the Happening album that Srila Prabhupada made with the devotees in, I think, early 1966 in New York, there's a monologue by Srila Prabhupada in which he makes the statement, this Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. Indeed, it is actually the original energy of the soul. So an artificial imposition, that's a very powerful statement, an artificial imposition on the mind. The artificial impositions on the mind begin with the false ego. Under the influence of the false ego, we adopt a false conception of ourselves. This is artificial. It's a concoction. So underneath that impression that is there in the mind, we fall into the trap of thinking that I am this body, I am this mind, the things which accrue to this body and this mind, they're mine, and so on. I, me, and mine. And this is an artificial imposition because the reality of our situation is that we are, as Sanatana Goswami is instructed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to understand, we are the eternal servants of Krishna. That is our constitutional position. Prabhupada gives the definition of constitution as that which does not change. That which does not change. What happens is, although we are eternal servants of Krishna, under the artificial imposition on the mind caused by the covering of false ego, then we mistakenly give up our eternal service to Krishna, but we remain eternal servants. We are eternally servants of Krishna. You take Krishna out of the picture, and that's what happens through forgetfulness of Krishna, and then the covering of the false ego, which all arise because we have misused our independence and turned away from the loving eternal service of the Lord, and entered into a situation where, although we remain eternal, we are faced with temporary situations that arise from the mental concoctions of our mind due to our desire to be the exploiters and enjoyers of the material energy. And this leads us, as they say, down the rabbit hole of the material world, which is a labyrinth that we can never get out of by our own volition. We're trapped in the labyrinth of the material world, the multi-dimensional, ever-changing, sometimes manifest, sometimes unmanifest material existence. And in this situation, we suffer the repetition of birth, death, disease, and old age in the material world, mistakenly pursuing material goals, all of which Krishna says are temporary, ashashvatam, they're temporary. In that sense, therefore, they don't exist. Temporary existence is ultimately non-existence. Existence actually means eternal. It does not ever not exist and will not ever not exist. This is the real nature of existence. And that is found only on the spiritual platform. We come from the spiritual platform of life, but we have come under the influence of the three modes of material nature. And under the influence of the three modes of material nature, we strive for very difficult things, which bring us a lot of trouble in our lives. Nothing is easy in the material world. The material world is called Durga. Durga means that which goes with difficulty. Everything, every endeavor is full of so many difficulties. And every material endeavor ultimately simply ends in disaster, because everything will be destroyed in due course of time. Everything that we see, everything that we strive to achieve, everything that we desire is all temporary in the material world. Material desires give rise to temporary situations, one after another, in which we have to struggle very hard to acquire and then try to retain whatever it is we have, whereas under the influence of time, everything is being degraded more and more and more to ultimate dissolution. Very difficult situation, impossible situation, all brought about by the interaction of the three modes of material nature, under which we are completely bound in the conditioned state of life. And Krishna says, Deviyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This material, divine material energy, this divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is very difficult to overcome, impossible to overcome. But mamevaye prapadyante mayamitam tarantite. But by surrendering unto me, who is me? Who is Krishna? Krishna is the controller of the three modes of material nature. Māyā jakshena prakriti suyate sa characharam. This material energy is working, Māyā jakshena is working under my supervision, under my eye. Everything in the material world, everything in the totality of all that is under Krishna's control. So by surrendering to Krishna, Māyā tarantite, it is very easy to cross beyond the influence of the three modes of material nature. And what is the vehicle? Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. Mamcha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samati chaitan brahma bhuya yakalpate. If one engages in devotional service and becomes fixed in that devotional service and does not fall down from that platform of devotional service under any circumstances, then sagunan samatijata, one transcends the influence of the three modes of material nature, comes out from under the influence of the three modes of material nature, comes directly under the deviyesha, not the devim prakritim, the internal energy of the Lord. Mahatmanas mampata daivim prakritim ashrita. They have taken shelter of the internal potency of the Lord. This is bhakti yoga. This is bhakti yoga. All other forms of yoga are performed by people who want something in the material world. They want something of the energies of the Lord without understanding that the Lord is the source of all energies and that everything depends upon him, and that ultimately we have an eternal relationship with him in a personal sense. All other forms of yoga, apart from bhakti, deal with the energies of the Lord, and they lead to an impersonal conception, a mechanical conception of things, that even if there is a God, then he's bound by the laws of karma to give us what we want if we perform the right ritualistic activities. No sense of the personality of God. To come to understand God in a personal sense is impossible unless and until one comes to the platform of total surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. First of all, accepting that he exists, accepting that there is a Supreme Person. It's very difficult in this age for people to do that, because as Srila Prabhupada's pranams go, Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. The whole world now is pervaded by these philosophies, Nirvisesha Sunyavadi, impersonalism and voidism, in terms of understanding the ultimate source of everything. Denying that there is a Supreme Person in charge denies that we have necessarily, therefore, any responsibility to behave in a particular way. Therefore, we can exploit anything and everything to our own advantage without any sense of any responsibility, and therefore without any fear of any repercussions upon us. Prabhupada says you can color things in that way if you want to, but that denies the reality that we are ultimately responsible for ourselves. And our ultimate responsibility is to act as the eternal servants of Krishna. That is our right, but it is also our responsibility. That's what we must do. It's our responsibility to ourselves to do that. Because if we don't do that, then we can never be happy. We can never be happy. We can never be satisfied. Like Srila Prabhupada says, you can take a fish out of water, put him on a throne, give him a scepter, give him a beautiful ermine cape. You can give him the treasury of the kingdom. You can do so many things, but he's just a fish flopping around because he's not in his natural environment. And therefore he can never be happy or satisfied with any emolument of his situation. So we are fish out of water. We are out of our natural environment, and we are now in the unnatural environment of the material world. And until and unless, by the mercy of Krishna, we come in contact with a pure devotee of the Lord, we will never gain this most confidential knowledge. Prabhupada says in the Purport, the confidential knowledge is that we're eternal living beings. The more confidential knowledge is realization that there is God. The most confidential knowledge is that that person is Krishna. We should not take any of this for granted. This is the most confidential knowledge. And part and parcel of that most confidential knowledge is that we can reestablish our lost relationship with Krishna, our lost and forgotten relationship with Krishna through this very simple process of Krishna consciousness based upon hearing and chanting about Krishna. Simple as that. Very simple. Hearing about, remembering, glorifying, and worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport to the verse 214, where it's the conclusion after verse 13, where Sutta Goswami explains that the purpose of all occupational activities, all dharma in relationship to vana and ashram, is to ultimately please the Supreme Lord. Then the following is a conclusion about that, saying that therefore, with one pointed attention, one should hear about. I'm sorry, I lost the sequence. Hear about, remember, glorify, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. With one pointed attention, one should hear about, remember, glorify, and worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. And in that regard, Prabhupada explains, hearing about, remembering, worship, glorifying, and worshiping are general activities in human society. Actually, he says, no one can live without engaging in these activities. And therefore, if we don't engage in hearing about, remembering, glorifying, and worshiping Krishna, then we'll hear about, remember, glorify, and worship anything. The list is endless in the material world. This is the point that Śukadeva Gosvāmī makes the Maharaj Pariksit in the first chapter of this second canto, that those people who have no knowledge of Atma Tattva, at least Atma Tattva, the beginning of spiritual realization, if they have no knowledge of this, then the list of subject matters in which they engage their attention is endless. And that endless engagement in those things makes us nityabada, eternally bound up in the material world. And there's no way out. There's no way out except for hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord. This is Bhakti Yoga, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'm in New South Wales. It just went to 8 o'clock. So that's our time. Do we finish now? Any quick questions or comments? Well, I'll give you time, 24 hours to think of some questions, because I've been asked to give class tomorrow and Wednesday as well. So it would be interesting to see what questions are there in your minds. We can maybe do at least tomorrow or Wednesday as a question and answer period.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
I just want to ask, what's the meaning of ikshanam?
Ikshanam.
Yes.
Prabhu, Vinod, Prabhu, can you bring up the previous verse, 15? It's, Prabhupada says, as in the previous verse. So you can look that up. Vinod Prabhu, could you put up verse 15 from the 4th chapter, the word for word?
Yeah, I'll do that, Prabhu. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, sorry to hustle you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Viraj Krishna, Prabhu. You want-
Ikshanam, Ikshanam means having audience of the Lord.
Yes. I knew that, but I was going to show where it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's
Verse
okay.
15.
That's okay. It means to have an audience with the Lord. Ikshanam.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Darshan. Darshanam. Ikshanam, darshanam. They're synonymous. Okay?
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. It's a working day, so I won't keep anybody any longer. Vanchakalpa trubhyascha kripa sindho vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, thank you.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Viraj Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'll close.